Shalom lekulam. Welcome to lesson number 9. Uh, like in the previous lessons, we were talking about the importance of knowing what is the goal in studying Kabbalah. Therefore, I'm gonna once again touch base in this lesson about this diagram that we use in lesson number 7, and is that we're here in the area of hastara, concealment. And where we're in concealment, we need to be working on admitting that we have evil in our vessel, that we're egoistic creatures, that we're opposite to the Creator. And our goal is to basically achieve that devekut, adhesion with the Creator. In order to do that, we need the study of Kabbalah. The study of Kabbalah will give us basically the books and an environment, meaning a group in which we will develop our vessel into spirituality. And it's also a place where we can practice loving your fellow human beings as yourself, because that's a requirement in order to cross and start working on these corrections, 613 mitzvot, that will elevate the orots, the 288 sparks that came down to the lowest level of creation, in the Mador HaKlipot, the place of the Klipot, and we need to elevate them back to the Creator. So, in order to achieve revelation, the Galot, we need to work in the tikkunims that we need to achieve. And in order to make this in a way that is practical, I mentioned that every time we start a lesson, we're gonna start doing some type of intention. So the intention for this lesson is the following. Read it with me. And the whole creation was created for me by the light, and I am light. The whole creation was created for me by the light, and I am light. I need you to think that everything around you is energy, everything around you is light, and you are part of that light. That after we finish this lesson, that you will meditate on that light, that you will meditate on the light that you are receiving at this moment as we study in this lesson together. So we talk about the calf and how basically this light of Ein Sof started coming down to this halal, to this empty space in the middle of the light. Okay? Then we mentioned that this light, this is the calf right here. This is a diagram that eliminates the circles, and we just see the calf. This light here start developing some, or sense the light in different ways as it receives and reflects the light and all that, right? And that those levels are known as sephirot and olamot, worlds and spheres, sephirah, which is like sapphire. And we touch base on to make sure that you understand that this diagram is not necessarily a diagram that reflects what is there in spirituality. This is not how spirituality is. This is a way for us to understand how this system is connected with these different forces. Okay? We talk about the first Sephirah Keter, which is the crown, Chokmah, which is wisdom, Binah, understanding. We talk about a place where these two forces of Chokmah and Binah basically unite, creating unification of Or Chokmah and Or Hasidim, in order to give to this Sephirah below. And we talk about Hesed, which is mercy, and Geburah, which is uh, power, or Din, which is another aspect of it. Then we talk about Tiferet, and we said that Tiferet, the Tiferet is the sephirot that connects all these other sephirot in the middle, and that the Keter is known as adding Amping, and Tiferet is known as Ser Amping, meaning the big face and the lower face. And this lower face is comprised of these 6 sephirot altogether, and it is basically represented by the biblical figures of Jacob, Israel, and that also there's another biblical figure that is attributed to this sephirot, is Adam from the book of Bereshit. And also this sephirot of Tiferet is attributed the force of redemption called Mashiach, Messiah. Okay? So now we're going to talk about Netzach, the following sephirot. And it says of Netzach, the Sefer Yesod, Netzach means victory. It is called hidden intellect, Shechel Nistar. It is called so because it is the shining splendor of all the intellectual powers that are seen with the eye of the intellect and with the thought of faith. So the meaning of Netzach is basically a hidden intellect, Shechel Nistar. The attributes are that of eternity, endurance, victory. In this case, we see here that Netzach is called victory in First Chronicles 29:11, where we had the sephirot. It is inside the world of Yetzirah, the human attribute given to Netzach. It's a psychological attribute, and the attribute is determination. The body part attributed to it is the left leg, and the holy name is Yohevah Sevaot, or Lord of Hosts. The biblical figure given to Netzach is Moshe, Moses in English, Moshe. And it has other names as well. Not only means victory, you can also call it splendor, endurance. So keep those names in your mind, because when you read them in the Torah or in the Tanakh, whenever they talk about victory, splendor, and things like that, it's Netzach, the level of Netzach. Okay? Let's go to Hod, the next sephirah. And Hod here is called majesty, right? Hod, the meaning of Hod is glory or majesty. It is called complete intellect, Shechel Shalem. It is called so because it is the ancient design, which has no root for one to settle in it, except through the chambers of greatness that are emanating from the essence of its existence. So Hod is majesty. It's inside the world of Yetzirah. The human attribute given to Hod is a psychological attribute, and is the attribute of flexibility. The body part is the right leg, And the name of God attributed to Hod is Elohim Tsebaot, God of hosts. The biblical figure given to Hod is that of Aaron, the brother of Moses. So keep in mind the biblical figures, because each biblical figure that we're mentioning here are a parsuf. And when we read the Torah, when we're reading about Moshe, when we're reading about Jacob, or we're talking about the interactions of forces and how these biblical figures were able to bring the forces of those sephirot manifest in creation again, after they were lowered all the way down by the sin of Adam Harishon. Okay, so keep that in mind. So the next one is Yesod, and as you can see, Yesod is one of the sephirot that are in the middle column, and there's only 4 sephirot that you will find in the middle column, and that's Keter, Tifaret, Yesod, and Malchut. So Yesod means foundation, but also the sephirah is known as Tzaddik. So from this you will find in the books of Kabbalah, and also some Jewish authors, they also say the same thing, that the Tzaddik or the Tzaddikim are the Yesod of the world. The righteous are the foundation of the world. So Yesod, it's attributed the name Tzaddik as well. It is called pure intellect, Shechel Tahor. It is called so because it purifies the sephirot. It tests and brightens the degree of their form and the contents of their unity, so they unify without cutoff and separation. So it's a foundation, basically. It's what holds the whole tree from the bottom up together. It's in the world of Yetzirah, and with it, the word of Yetzirah ends. After that, just like Atzilut, it's by itself in the word, Keter is by itself in the word of Atzilut, you're going to find the next Sephirah Malchut is going to be in its own world called Asiyah. So with Yesod, that's where it ends, where Yetzirah ends. So the human attribute is spiritual aspiration. The body parts is the area of circumcision, meaning the genitals in the human body. The holy name is Elohim Chaim, the living God, and also the name Shaddai El Chai, meaning God the provider. The biblical figure is that of Joseph, but even though it's given the biblical figure of Joseph, it is also given or attributed the biblical figures of Ephraim and Manasseh. Okay, so now we're gonna go to Malchut, and Malchut is translated as kingdom. Right here, thine is the kingdom. Malchut also is attributed the name Shekhinah, divine immanence, or divine presence. It is called sparkling intellect, Shechel Mitnotzetz. It is called so because it elevates itself and sits upon the seat of understanding, and illuminates with the splendor of all the luminaries, and it bestows an increased influx to the prince of the face, seramping. So let's spend some time, explaining what it says here. It is called sparkling intellect, and the reason it is called Shechel Mit not sets is because it elevates itself and sits upon the seat of understanding, Bina. Very important, because in the future what you're going to see is that basically the Parsuf Sag, Ab is Chokmah, Parsuf Sag is Bina. What happened is there's another Sinzum, and it's because the light comes all the way in, and there's an interaction between the forces of Bina and Malchut. So you're gonna see this process of interaction between the will to receive, which is Malchut, and the will to bestow, which is Bina. And the interaction between those two forces is what makes all these things happen all the way, even to this day of creation. So that's why I say it sits upon the seat of understanding, Bina, and illuminates with the splendor of all the luminaries. So there's a saying in Kabbalah that says, Keter is in Malchut and Malchut is in Keter. So everything that is created in the whole universe, it's in Malchut. In Kabbalah, you're gonna find the Kabbalah teaches that all the worlds, all the emanations, all the attributes that we give to God and everything are inside us. They're not out there, they are right here inside us. So basically that's what it's saying about Malchut. The Malchut has all that inside itself as well. So it talks that it bestows an increased influx to the prince of the face, the seramping. So if this will to receive is transformed into a will to bestow, meaning if this level called Malchut reaches a level in which it can receive in order to be in the likeness of its creator, Bina, it will automatically create an union between Chokmah and Bina through that, in which they will bestow the light of wisdom or Chokmah through Or Hasidim into this sephirot right here, which is seramping. All because of this. And remember when we talked about prayer in a previous lesson, that's the meaning of prayer, elevating Malchut to a level of Bina, and in that way we receive the light all the way down here from Chokmah and Bina, which is they're known as the Parsuf Ava Ve'ima, and then Serampin and Nukva. They together, when they're working together, they are called Zon. Zon meaning the Z from Serampin and the N from Nukva. Okay, so the name, actually the meaning of Malchut, like I say, is kingdom. It's also Shekhinah, and also Malchut is called Knesset Israel, which is the congregation of Israel. Malchut is in the word of Asiya. So you're gonna see that there's two sephirot. Keter, it's in its own world. Atzilut and Malchut is gonna be in its own world, called Asiya. Okay, so it's gonna be right here, Asiya. And there you have the four worlds, okay? And the human attribute given to Malchut is that of perception. That of perception. The body part is the mouth, the feet, and the skeleton. And the holy name is Adonai Haaretz, or Lord of the earth. Also, some attribute the name Yohevaheh to Malchut. The biblical figure for Malchut is that of King David, and also that of the biblical figure Rachel, one of the wives of Jacob. And if this is Jacob, this is Leah, this is Rachel. So you see the interaction here. Basically, Rachel is pure desire to receive, and Leah is pure desire to bestow. Okay, so the tree of life, this diagram here basically is just letting us understand, like I said before, the how these powers, how these forces, work with each other. And as we have seen, the tree of life can be divided into 4 sections. The first section is the word of Atzilut, and that belongs to the letter Yod. The second section is the word of Bria, and that's the letter He of the Yohevaheh, the first letter He. The word of Yesirat, that's the Vav of the word of the name Yohevaheh. And Asiyah is the second He of the word, the name Yohevaheh. Okay? These sephirot, as probably you have heard as I've been describing each attribute, also correspond to our body. And this is where we're gonna change the subject a little bit in order to talk about something that we are going to so I'll put this up. Okay, so the tree of life, when we put it on top of a human being silhouette, it will fall, Keter in the head, Chokmah and Bina on the side of the head, meaning the left and right side of the brain. Then you're gonna have the At. The At is that area in which it's supposed to be a sephirah, but it's not. Then you have Chesed Geburah, which are the left and right arms. Tifaret correspond to the torso of the heart. Netzach and Hod corresponds to the 2 legs. Yesod to the place of the circumcision. Malchut to the feet, right? And that, let's talk about that. So we have the crown, we have the brains, we have the arms and everything, but there's no sephirah that actually manifests itself out there in the same way that this quasi-sephirah manifest. And this sephirah, it's something unique, and we're going to talk about the uniqueness of that sephirah in our intermediate classes, because we're going to see in the Sefer Yetzirah how the letters that we mentioned, the 22 letters that connect the tree of life, which which is this path in here, these lines that connect those sephirot. Those are the DNA of creation. Those are the 22 paths of creation. And these 22 letters gonna need something. They're gonna need some type of air. They're gonna need also like their symbol and everything, but it's air and sound. And that can only happen when you unite certain forces to create a voice, to create something that is in your head, and you manifest that out there as a voice, as a sound. So in the book of Bereshit, you're gonna see that in the beginning God created the heavens and the earth, right? And all of a sudden, God started, talking. He started narrating that, and Elohim said, Yehi Or, so things like that. And why these letters are important, and it's all through the act that everything happened. So remember, if the first day is Chesed, the verb, the action of the voice of creation is manifested from here, and is the union of these two forces here, Abba ve'Ima. So in the beginning, Bereshit bara Elohim. Bereshit bara Elohim. Elohim belongs to the Sephirah Bina. Et HaShamayim ve'et ha'aretz. Shamayim is Serampin and ha'aretz is Malchut. And then after it tells you that he created this, it will tell you then how it was created. That's when he starts saying, Va'omer Elohim, and God said, Yehi Or, Yehi Or, and all that. And the first day is Chesed, second day is Geburah, third day is Tifaret, and all that. But when he gets to the sixth day, when he's creating, or created the human being called Adam Harishon and his counterpart Chava, we don't talk about seventh day until a different creation narrative. And the reason is the mystery of Shabbat was that Adam needed to wait for Shabbat in order to eat from the tree of good and evil, because Shabbat is the balance of all these forces, but in an unbalanced way, and when his vessels were not ready, what happened was he broke into pieces. And our job now is to put all those pieces together. Okay, so this is basically all the 10 sephirot explained. What is the practicality of this? Because you're always going to ask, why do I need to know this information? Is that if you study the tree of life and you study all the attributes that are given to it, you're going to find that everything that happened in your life, everything that you see, has a relationship with some of these attributes. The world we live in is a world that is basically ruled by the aspect of restriction, which is Geburah. That's why you hear first restriction, second restriction, and all that. We need to start from all level, working our way in which we go to a level where there's no restriction, where there is a level of chesed. And that's done only through our internal correction, in which we ask the Creator to send us the light of Chokmah. And that's through the real prayer that we do. So in this sense, the tree of life is just a map to go back. A map that will help us understand that we are down here, but we need to go up this ladder this ladder is a spiritual ladder that has many degrees. And as we go up this ladder, we will be having sensations of the light that are different from what we feel here. So here, if you heard well before, Malchut is also Knesset Israel. Knesset Israel is a group of people that have the same will, the same desire, and the same intention to unite, to love each other, to love others as well, and to have this devakut, this adhesion to the Creator. The desire and the intentions are always for the sake of the Creator. And when they achieve that, this parsuf here called seramping, which is comprised of these 6 sephirot, will make a request to Bina, which is Ima, parsuf Ima, who in turn will look at Chokmah, which is Abba, and together Abba Be'ima will make kind of like we call it sivug, or striking, or connection, or coupling, in which something will manifest. Something will manifest in seramping, and seramping by receiving the life of Chokmah with the life of Hasidim, he's able to work things out to give to Knesset Israel the Nukva that is down here. That's the prayer of a Kabbalist. Raise man, the Ma'in Nuchbin, the feminine water, and then from there we receive an answer in the form of the masculine waters, meaning an answer to our prayers. That's the practicality of this. Just a map so you can see and understand everything that is happening here. So we're going to stop the class here. Lesson number 10 will be our last class for beginners. I hope you have enjoyed so far these very basic concepts of Kabbalah and what Kabbalah is all about, what's the work of Kabbalah. And then when we get to the intermediate lessons, we will go to sources, and we will go to the Tanakh, the Bible itself, and read more in depth certain passages, so we can understand more what is happening when these forces are interacting. In the advanced lessons, which are going to be posted in the website as well, we will be talking about these forces in a different way. We will be talking about these forces now from a level of performing the tikkunim in ourselves, and also in a more depth study of the process of creation, specifically after the Shevirat HaKelim, the breaking of the vessels, and the world of Atzilut, Bria, Yetzirah, and Bria, all the way to where we are right now, which is the world of concealment. Okay, so hope you have enjoyed. Thank you very much for being with me in this class. See you on the next class, class number 10. Shalom.